Hello yogis, welcome to Yoga with Catherine. Today I'm going to be guiding you through the top 5 movements for hip mobility. Now there's a few things that I want to talk about when it comes to hip mobility, and the first thing being that sometimes less is more. Let me explain. There is a lot of buzz around hip mobility these days, making everybody think that they need to have these extremely high ranges of motion with their hips, like doing the splits, crazy things like that. When actually, if you want healthy, mobile hips, you don't really want your hips to be doing these crazy over-the-top movements, as some of them can actually lead to degradation of the joint and injury. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing the top 5 best movements for hip mobility in my opinion. This is going to give you healthy, happy hips. So hop on your mat and let's move. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is bring our legs out quite wide, a little bit wider than our hips. We'll place our hands behind us and lean back. From here, you're gonna send your knees over to the right and then over to the left. So these are windshield wipers, just inviting movement into our hips here, waking them up a little bit. And if this feels really like kind of jolty and almost like it's kind of intense for you, this is something that you really need to be including in your daily routine. So we want to do about 10 reps both sides. So in total, you can just count to 20. So like this, 1, 2, right? So going all the way to 20. All right, so the next movement that we're gonna do is a 90-90 with a back leg lift and a fold. I know that sounds complicated, but don't worry. Bring both your legs into a 90-degree angle. So your right leg will be kind of in a square shape, 90-degree angle in front of you, and then your back leg will also be in a 90-degree angle. From here, you can just bring your hands sort of in line with your knee and then your foot. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna fold over, come back up, lift your back leg, and place it back down. Fold over, come back up, lift your back leg, and come back down. If that is just too much for you, what you can do is grab a block or a book, maybe a few books, pop it right underneath your bum here, and then that will just elevate your hips a little bit so you can come into that 90-90 angle a little bit easier. And you can just do the same thing, bring your hands to the floor, fold over, come back up, lift the back leg, place it back down, fold over, back up, lift the back leg, place it down. So we're just training our hips really for all these different types of movements and getting them used to moving in ways that they aren't used to doing. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna start to do is a little bit of strength training in the hip area. So the surrounding muscles of the hip joint. This is crucial for hip mobility. If you have weak muscles surrounding the capsule, what's gonna happen is it's going to tighten to protect itself. So your body's nervous system actually reacts to weak muscles. Your nervous system wants to protect your hip. So when it feels that there is weakness going around, it's going to just tighten the muscles. So if you strengthen the surrounding muscles, they will loosen up and allow more movement to kind of flow through. So come to sit in staff pose. So you just have your legs out in front of you. Your spine is nice and long, and you can just plant your hands on the ground here. It doesn't need to be like any specific kind of way, but you want to support yourself a little bit because we're going to be really focusing on moving the legs here. So you're going to lift your right leg up as high as it can possibly go, and then you're going to externally rotate your foot and then bring your heel towards the top of your knee. Then push your knee down, lift it back up, hug the knee into the chest. You're really lifting it up here. Lift it up as high as it can go and then place it back down. So this is very, very challenging. If you can't do the entire thing, just practice lifting up and then placing back down. So you can break it up a little bit until you can get to this point. Now we'll do the other leg. So lifting the left leg as high as it will go. External rotation. Bring the heel to the top of your right knee. Then push your left knee down. Come back up. Now don't place your foot on top of your knee. This could cause knee damage, so you really want to be careful. Hug the knee into the chest as you lift back up. Lift the leg as high as it can possibly go and place that back down. So you want to do 5 on either side there, 10 in total, and then build it up. So for 3 weeks, do 5 on both sides. Once you've done that, you'll have enough strength to go maybe to 10 each side. and then just build it up to like 15, and then just start regularly practicing that 3 to 4 times a week. Strength really does take consistency, so stick to it. Make sure that you do this on a daily basis. This is going to do wonders for your hip mobility. All right, next we're going to come into a low lunge. So just come up onto your knees and then step your right foot through, sink into your hips here, tuck the pelvis in so that you feel a really deep stretch on the front of the left hip here. All right, so from here, inhale, lengthen the spine. As you exhale, keep the right foot flat on the ground and come forward. Bring your hands down to the mat, so your knee doesn't have to be straight here, it can be bent. Then come back up. Sink into your hips, tucking in the pelvis. You really only want to go as far as when you can feel that stretch. Don't push all the way. If you're already feeling a stretch here, you've gone far enough. So just stretching the front of that hip, pushing back. Now you're going to feel like your legs are getting really tired, and that's good because they're working and strengthening the surrounding muscles here. So low lunge, push back, low lunge, push back. Nice and slow and controlled. Once again, just practicing 10 on both sides. Always make sure you're doing the other side. You really don't want to end up lopsided. We're always a little bit asymmetrical, but you really don't want the one side to be very strong and then the other to be very weak, of course. All right, so the next one that we're going to do is my favorite hip mobility drill, and that is Skandasana. So what we're going to be doing is practicing a few little levels before we go down to the full expression. So bring your legs out quite wide and wider than the hips here. Bring your hands to your hips and then lengthen the spine. From here, hinge at your hips and fold all the way down. See if you can plant your hands on the ground. If not, you can just keep your hands on your hips here. Micro bend in the knee so that we don't lock them. And then what you're going to do is you're going to bend into your right leg and then lift back up. Bend into your left leg and lift back up. This is the first expression of this. And we're going to take it further. Widen the legs even more, and we'll do the same thing. So hinging forward, nice long spine. Bend deeply into the right knee and lift back up. Deeply into the left knee and lift back up. Okay, so just practicing those, and then eventually we'll go down to Skandasana. So what you're going to do here is actually turn out your feet and just be careful here. Use your hands for support. You can just bring them down. You can bend your knees. Now we're going to bend deeply into the right knee, and you can lift up onto your heel here if you feel like your body wants to do that, and just float into Skandasana. This is the full expression, and then we'll walk over to the other side, do the same thing. So you're pointing the opposite toe up to the sky, really getting deep into the hips here. All right, now if this does feel like too much, don't go into the full expression just yet. Really take your time. Do those build-up exercises first, and then eventually you'll be able to get here. But also, you can also just come up onto your hands, see how deep you can go, and just practice from up here. All right. And then once again, just do 5 on either side, and eventually work your way up to 10 on both sides. You can work yourself up to 15. All right, so those are the 5 best movements that you can do for hip mobility. This is going to change your life, so definitely practice these. In the description below, I will have all the instructions, so don't worry if you feel like you kind of missed anything during our practice. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe, and also give me a comment if this helped you at all, and also maybe share what you do to improve your hip mobility so that we can learn from each other. I appreciate you so much. Namaste.